Hey guys, today we're going to talk about angles and we're going to really focus on 4 different types of angles. We're going to talk about them this week and we're going to bring them up again next week. So if you don't quite understand it, we are going to be doing this for the next 2 weeks. So hopefully by the end of these 2 weeks you'll understand the relationships of the angles that we're going to talk about, because those inequalities and equations that we discussed weeks prior, they are very important for 8th grade and high school. Angles is also very important for 8th grade and high school. You are going to be taking and seeing these topics again when you are taking geometry and math 2 in high school. So make sure you definitely keep this information and understand it and master it. So we're going to talk about 4 different types of angles. The first angle that I want to talk about is called a complementary angle. And this angle is an angle, it is 2 angles that add to equal 90 degrees. 2 angles that add to equal 90 degrees. So when I look at this, what really helps me kind of determine the difference between all these angles is looking at the first 2 letters. So the first 2 letters are CO. So when I look at this, I look at it and add a line to it. So CO, and if I add this line, it's 90 degrees. It kind of helps you remember that if I just add that one little line here, it looks like a 90 degree to help me complementary 90 degrees. So what it looks like is if I give you your angle. So I have angle A and angle B. I have my 90 degree mark. I know that angle A and B add together to equal 90 degrees. So if I said B is 60 degrees, I'm going to say A plus 60 equals 90. Got to subtract 60 from both sides, bring in those equations again. A equals 90 minus 60 is 30. So A is 30 degrees. Second one I want to talk about is very similar, and it is supplementary angles. And supplementary angles are 2 angles that add to equal 180 degrees. Once again, I'm going to take those first 2 letters, SU. So supplementary. And I'm going to add a couple lines. I'm going to add a line, and close in my U. So by just closing in the openings to my S, closing this, closing my U, and adding a line, so closing in my openings, kind of like here, I just put that line to close in that opening, makes 180 degrees. So complementary 90, supplementary 180. So this is when I have, remember, a straight line equals 180 degrees. A straight line equals 180 degrees. So if I have A and B, A plus B equals 180 degrees. So if I say that A is 120 degrees plus B equals 180, I'm going to subtract 120 from both sides, leaving me with B equals 60 degrees. So this angle would be 60 degrees. Okay? The next one we're going to talk about is a vertical angle. And vertical angles are 2 angles that are the same size across from each other, sharing a vertex. And remember, a vertex is a point where the angles come together, where two lines, two segments come together to create an angle. So a vertex is that point where I have two lines intersect and that vertex is that center. So that vertex of an angle here is right here. So when I'm talking about two angles that are the same size and across from each other, so vertical angles are like A and B. So these are across from each other on straight lines. They share a vertex and they are the same size. Generally, you are going to see vertex drawn like this, and then you're going to have to solve, well, A equals B. They are the same size. So if I draw something like this, and you're going to have some things try to trick you up by drawing extra lines, we still have this angle is the same as this angle. So make sure you're careful looking. They are the same. They are across from each other. They have to be touching by the vertex. Okay? And the last one that we are going to talk about is an adjacent angle. An adjacent angle. And these are two angles that share a ray, also known as a side. So these two angles are adjacent, they're touching. These two angles are adjacent. They're touching. They're sharing this line right here. So what's important is they share a line in between them. They have to be touching by a full line, not just by the vertex, by a full line. So adjacent, they're not necessarily the same size. They're not just going to make 90 degrees. They may not even make 180. They may just be two small angles, but they share that line in the middle. They're two angles that share a line and they touch. You are going to be doing some examples using complementary for 90, supplementary for 180, vertical for sharing a point and being exactly the same, and adjacent where they share a side. Hopefully these notes have helped you start that journey. I will see you later.